Radio check, loud and clear, okie dokes, we should be live. Thank you everyone for coming along, and apologies for the late start, we're 1 minute late. Yeah, I just forgot to fill up my water bottle, so, yeah. Okie dokes. So, here we go then. We are 28 minutes away from the start of qualifying here in Monaco. The sun is shining, it is nice and sunny, the track is warm, and the drivers are just getting ready now to put together their best quali laps of Monaco. Alright. So, currently at the end of FP3, we had Lewis Hamilton crashing into the barriers and having damaging the front right of his car, the rear right of his car, but that was, that wasn't too significant damage, so he should be fine to take part in the session, in the qualifying session today. So that's no need to worry there for any Lewis Hamilton fans or Ferrari fans. And the rest of the drivers, of course, they were very wary of the fact that if they did crash the car, it would be pretty difficult to get the car ready in time for qualifying. So, yeah, they were all sort of being a little bit careful and being a little bit cautious in terms of how much they were attacking. So, yeah, I will take you through a lap of the circuit. But folks, if you've got any questions in the chat, then be sure to let me know. I will do my best to answer all of them before we get underway for the stream. Yeah, before we get underway for the full coverage. No, qualifying has not started. We are 27 minutes away from the start of quali. As you can see there on the screen, it says quali starts in 27 minutes. MCG, did you have a coffee? Indeed, I did. So I'm feeling a little bit more energized, and of course, I had my lunch as well. So should be good to go. All right. Enjoying the time attack, sleep in the parade tomorrow. Yeah, maybe. I mean, it's we'll see. I think the two-stop things will mix things up. At least I think in the first year it'll mix things up because teams don't know exactly what to do, what all of the other teams are going to try and do, and what strategy they're going to use. Let's say 3 years down the line, if we're still going to go with a two-stop strategy, then I have a feeling that the teams know what the strategy is going to be, and then in 2 years' time it'll get a little bit boring. But for now, I think it's fine, and it'll mix things up for this weekend. Okay. Charles keep positioning against us. Oh yeah, this is the other thing. Charles Leclerc has topped free practice 1, 2, and 3. So if he gets pole position, wins the race, which is a very big if. But if he does that, then that would be a Grand Slam, and I think that would be the first Grand Slam of his career as well. So that would be fantastic, for him. Doing it his home Grand Prix as well. He's the only driver from Monaco on the grid as of right now, and he's been performing fantastically this season. This practice session so far. Do you think Max will get pole? Well, we'll just have to really wait and see. As you saw, Charles Leclerc was 3/10 clear of Max in free practice 3. However, Leclerc was saying that he's not confident about the pace, even though he topped, in the interviews after free practice 2 yesterday, he topped free practice 1, topped free practice 2, and then in the interviews afterwards, he was like, I'm not particularly confident about the pace. I don't think we'll have the pace. So, interesting from Charles Leclerc, and I guess we'll just have to see really how things work out for him. But, yeah, he doesn't believe he has the pace, but also Ferrari, we're not really sure. They came into the weekend saying there'd be absolutely nowhere, and then they are topping all the practice sessions. So let's let the drivers, speak for themselves on the track. Okay, is Hamilton taking part in quali? Yes, he will. He will. The car is not that severely damaged, so no issues there. Alright, doesn't Charles need to lead all the laps in the Grand Prix for it to be a Grand Slam? He does, however, it is Monaco, so if he gets pole position and then leads out of turn 1, then he will also lead every lap as well. Well, if he doesn't do an early strategy, like try and do an undercut or something, but there's always potential. We'll wait and see. Weather conditions, sunny in Monaco. Nothing too out of the ordinary, really. Pretty typical conditions for the south of France. All right. What else is going on? Not too much really. Of course, we have got some of the junior drivers, as you can see. Hadjar there in 17th, Bortoletto in 19th, Colapinto in 20th, not doing so well. And that's just purely due to the fact that they don't really have that much race experience around Monaco. And they, driving Formula 2 cars is, driving Formula 2 cars around Monaco, it is a challenge in and of itself, but Formula 1 is a completely new level. Like, you're coming at probably 1.5 times the speed of a Formula 2 car, and it is just the level of precision required goes up ridiculously, like the exponential increase of precision required driving a Formula 1 car compared to Formula 2. So I think they're all sort of playing a little bit safe and not attacking as much. However, that's what they've been doing in the practice sessions. In the qualifying sessions, it's a totally different story. They're going to start attacking, they're going to start pushing the car, especially towards the end of Q1. I think my prediction is towards the end of Q1, in the final runs, we are going to get one of the rookies crashing. That's my prediction for the qualifying sessions ahead. Do you think Kimi was distracted? Well, I mean, Kimi's ahead of Russell, so I don't know exactly what you mean by he's been distracted, but I think he's doing Kimi's doing a pretty good job, to be fair. Better than the other rookies. Colapinto quite a bit behind his teammate Bortoletto, also behind Hulkenberg by quite a lot. And Behrman being ahead of Ocon, which is a good thing really. Hadjar as well, quite a bit back from Lawson. So yeah, the other rookies are suffering. However, Kimi Antonelli is getting close to George Russell. However, I also do think that once we get towards Q3, Russell will really pick up the pace. He is very good at qualifying, especially so at Monaco. All right, let me just block the adverts there. Make sure no more adverts. All right. What happened to Hamilton? Hamilton crashed going through the casino, going through turn number 3. In fact, I'll just show you sort of using my onboard replay. I will show you what happened to Hamilton. So he was coming along his flying lap here. Oh, in fact, I've got a little bit too far ahead. Yeah, just at this point here, Hamilton went through this corner and then lost the rear of the car just about here. Lost the rear of the car, went into the barriers on the right-hand side and damaged his front right and rear right. And that's essentially what happened at the end of FP3. And because of that, he, brought out the red flag and then had to get out the car, let the marshals pick it all up and everything. So, and the Ferrari mechanics have had to work on it all lunch to get it fixed. So that's what happened at the end of FP3. Hamilton made a mistake, but we've seen other drivers make a mistake. Piastri yesterday locked his brakes here into turn 1, went straight into the barriers. We saw Hadjar clip the rear of his car on the Nouvelle chicane. We also saw loads of drivers go off into the escape road because they're pushing just a little bit too hard. Off into the escape road you go, and then you have to end up causing a yellow flag, ruining everyone's laps behind you. It's a whole mess really. Yeah. All right, but I'll take you through an onboard lap around here in Monaco. So let me just press on pause. All right. So you come through Rascasse here now towards the final corner. You want to get a very nice exit onto the main straight here. You've not got a particularly long straight. The drivers don't even reach 8th gear, but you open the DRS flap, hit the brakes in a straight line for Saint-Devote, and then get as close to the barrier as possible and just accelerate up the hill. Now, this is probably the quickest corner on the circuit, and you just, hopefully you don't lose the car like Hamilton did. Then you go through the casino. Now, avoid the bump on the exit, move over to the right, then come back to the left again for Mirabeau, where you go down the hill towards the Lowe's hairpin. Now, it is the slowest corner on the Formula 1 calendar, and you have to go full steering lock to get the car to rotate around there. And then now you go towards Portier, where it's where, of course, the Alpines collided last season, but hopefully they won't do that this season. And you go into the tunnel section with the Nouvelle chicane approaching, breaking a straight line here. There's a bump also on the entry of the Nouvelle chicane where the drivers do have to be careful not to lock up. Now into Tabac where you tap the brakes, flick the car to the left, and then flat through this next chicane, now towards the swimming pool break, and the slow-mos through that corner. The right-hander of the swimming pool chicane is incredible how close the drivers get. Then towards Raskash you go, just want to get a good exit and a clean run out towards turn number 1. And that is a lap of Monaco, ladies and gentlemen. It took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to record a lap around Monaco and not crash into any barriers, but yeah. They're still repairing Hal Lewis's car. He still may not participate. I mean, there's still 20 minutes left, and then technically also another 20 minutes till the end of Q1. And there's also a pretty high chance of having a red flag in Q1 and having the session paused. So I think Hamilton should be fine to get the car repaired and okay. You know, the mechanics still are repairing the car, and I agree with that. However, the mechanics know they have a deadline to work to, and they will work to the deadline. Like, they don't have every single Ferrari mechanic working on it to get it fixed ASAP. They have probably 4 or 5 who are working on it, and they will get it done in time. Okay, Stefan, thank you, Stefan, for joining the channel member. Very much is appreciated. Okay. Lewis will be in qualifying. He changes front right suspension and entire rear end, including gearbox. Yeah, see, this is the thing. You don't want to risk these things around Monaco because, well, yeah, probably, to be fair as well, he did impact the rear of the car quite severely, and the gearbox is susceptible to damage of that sort. So it makes sense that they changed the gearbox. Is Hamilton suffering from oversteer or understeer? His rear slid previously and flew over the chicane once too, lol. He's suffering from oversteer, really. That's probably I'm not really suffering from oversteer, but he's experiencing quite a bit of oversteer in this Ferrari car. And it's not that it's oversteer, it's just that he can't accurately predict when the car is going to slide out. Like, he will try to go through a corner, and the drivers all in their head, they have this mental image of, oh, I'm going to press the throttle this much and the car will grip. If I press the throttle too much, then the car is going to spin out. So they do have this like mental idea of how much throttle they should be pressing. It's just that either the Ferrari car isn't being consistent, or for whatever reason Hamilton can't compute the limit of the grip on the car. But that's sort of the issue that Hamilton's sort of experiencing at the Ferrari team. He's suffering a lot in the high speed corners, even through Bahrain, Imola, all of the high speed corners. He's losing time to Charles Leclerc. F1 Gamer, this shows the caliber of Ferrari drivers on the track. The track does make differences. Yeah, I mean, at this circuit, the drivers do make a difference, and the Ferrari drivers are doing well. Of course, if you had to say the best driver lineup on the grid, you could. There are three real choices. You have Leclerc or Hamilton, you have Norris and Piastri, or you have Albon and Sainz. And if you forced me, if you said you have to rank them, then I would say probably Leclerc and Hamilton are the best driver pairing, Norris and Piastri the second best driver pairing, and then Sainz and Albon the third best driver pairing. So that's sort of what I think. And yeah, they do have probably the strongest driver lineup. If you look at both drivers, of course, if you say just one driver, then Max Verstappen stands out above the rest. But of course, his teammate is Yuki Tsunoda, who isn't doing so well, 7 tenths off the back of him in FP3, and in 7 tenths off the back in most quali sessions as well. What dashboard do you use? This is called Multiviewer, but you do need F1 TV to actually use it. So there's a link in the description to F1 TV if you guys are interested in sort of getting access to all of this data, being able to customize it to whatever you guys want to do rather than what's up on the screen. Then you get F1 TV using the link in the description, and you download Multiviewer, and you can use all of that data. All right. What do you think causes Charles to get much faster in Monaco than other tracks? I don't really know, because using the excuse of, oh, it's your home race and suddenly I'm really motivated and I've got 1 extra tenth of pace doesn't really line up, because if Charles theoretically he just unlocks an extra tenth of pace because he's at his home Grand Prix, ideally he should have that extra tenth of pace every other place as well, because it's not sort of a limit of, yeah, I don't know, like, I don't know how he suddenly unlocks a bunch of extra pace around Monaco. And in fact, let me just put up the pole time up on the screen. So the 2024 pole time was a 1 minute 10.270 from Charles Leclerc. And we'll see if the lap times drop below that, and if Charles Leclerc can achieve what he did last season, or go maybe even better. All right, let me just pop that up on the screen. Fantastic. All right, so just one extra little piece of information on the screen. Charles Leclerc loves Monaco, indeed. I mean, it is his home Grand Prix. Seen these races ever since he was a child, and I'm sure that he'd love to get another win here. Okay, Adafon Gamer, when will they apply the 10-place grid penalty for Behrman? Do you think it's unfair? Well, they'll apply the 10-place grid penalty for whatever position he qualifies today. So if he qualifies 20th, he'll just start 20th, and the grid penalty won't have any effect. If he qualifies 15th, he'll still start 20th. Yeah, that's pretty self-explanatory. And did you think it was unfair? No, not... I mean, okay, I understand from Behrman's perspective how he sort of just made the mistake and overtook Carlos Sainz, because over the radio he will have been notified saying, oh, Oscar Piastri crashed in the barriers at turn number 1, and that's why we brought out the red flag. And then Behrman did the overtake on Carlos Sainz at Rascasse, the corner before the pit lane, right, turn number 18, and Oscar Piastri crashed at turn number 1. So he was very clearly not in a danger zone, and I see sort of like a little slip up, and he's just overtaken Carlos Sainz. It's a bit unfortunate, really. Like, 10 places seems extremely harsh for a mistake that wasn't even going to have any impact, but rules are rules, and these rules have been written, you know, via a lot of safety studies and basically incidents in the past where people have been injured, people have lost their lives, and that's why these safety regulations are here, and that's why the drivers have to follow them. So I think it's fair enough, but it won't be happening particularly often, so it doesn't really matter. Okay. Right. I will add the lines onto the track to indicate the sectors on for the race. I couldn't figure out the best possible way to do it in between quali and in between FP3 and quali, because I was having my lunch and doing some other things. But yeah, I'll have the other things ready very for tomorrow's race. All right, we should have the data coming through for. Yeah, in fact we do. Okay, we do have the data coming through for the session. So let me just get rid of the FP3 data, and then we'll have the quali data coming up on screen. Fantastic. All right, so there we go. We have got the qualifying data up, and the positions are the same positions that we saw in FP3. All right. What happened with Hamilton? Hamilton crashed his car in Q3, but his car will be getting repaired in time for the start of the race, start of the qualifying session. Oh, oh my God. YouTube is, YouTube just, apologies, folks. I'm doing my best to block them. YouTube is just, normally YouTube sends me a little pop-up on my screen saying, oh, ads are about to be shown, and then I say, don't show the adverts, but for whatever reason, they didn't show that little pop-up, so apologies there. All right. So, yeah, the system basically is I have to keep pressing it. Every 10 minutes, I have to press block adverts, and I can't turn them off. So, yeah, I will try to keep doing that. All right. Will you show the race? Unfortunately, no, I can't show the race, otherwise I will get copyrighted. A couple other things to go through then. So if we just run through what happened in FP1, FP2, FP3. FP1, we had an incident between Charles Leclerc and Lance Stroll, where Stroll was held up in traffic. Well, Stroll wasn't held up in traffic. Basically, over the radio, Stroll got told that Charles Leclerc was approaching, but he got told way too late, and he got told way too quietly over the radio as well. The engineer wasn't particularly loud into the microphone, and Stroll didn't hear him. So Leclerc, so Stroll wasn't really looking in his mirrors. He was too busy, driving the Monaco circuit. It's a pretty difficult circuit. You have to be alert all the time. And then, yeah, basically Leclerc just crashed into the back of Stroll. That happened there in FP1. But apart from that, it was a fairly uneventful session. A lot of drivers, they were all getting grips of the circuit. Sometimes we saw, lap times 5-6 seconds off the pace, and then the next lap there would be 2 seconds off the pace. The next lap there'll be half a second off the pace. So it took a while for all the drivers to get used to the circuit, get into the rhythm, the flow of things. And FP2 was a similar story, but we did see the drivers start to push a little bit more in FP2. We saw some yellow flags being brought out. We saw the drivers going off in the escape road. And then in FP3, we saw some more quali sims, except the drivers, at this point, they had got a much more refined setup from overnight. They tweaked some things. The setup was probably perfect. And then the other thing was they were very consciously aware of if they crash the car, there's a pretty high chance that they can't take part in quali. So they weren't pushing as hard as they were in FP2. And that's why we didn't see any drivers go off into the escape road, any drivers have any big crash, apart from Hamilton, of course. Hamilton will be taking part. He will be taking part in today's qualifying session, and yeah, I have some people have asked me for some predictions, so I'm going to go with my prediction being. I'm going to predict that Fernando Alonso is in the top 3. Bit of a delusional prediction, to be honest, because their pace in the practice sessions hasn't been so good. However, in Imola, they were looking really, really good. The car had a lot of pace, and I feel like it's going to translate. Of course, this is another circuit where the driver can make a huge impact, so I feel like Fernando Alonso can help their Aston Martin team out and sort of bring out some more performance for them. And yeah, we'll wait and see what happens. Also, some other things that have happened is there was an article that came out. I don't know when it came out, but I read it just before the quali stream started. And Adrian Newey was talking about sort of the changes that have been made at Aston Martin since he's joined the team, basically. So he joined the team on the 1st of March. Now we're here on the 24th of May. So it's been a couple months or so. And he's fully integrated into the team now. And the one thing that he was talking about was the weak tools that Aston Martin were having compared to all of the top teams. So essentially, if you're thinking about weak tools, what that sort of implies or describes basically is the systems that the teams have in place to sort of run their qualifying, to run their simulations of, what's the best race strategy, what's the best upgrade, should we upgrade our front wing next, should we upgrade our rear wing next, should we modify our side pods, things like that. So all of these systems in place are fully integrated and really well built out in the top teams like Mercedes, like Ferrari, like Red Bull. And the teams that were lacking this was Aston Martin. They put a huge amount of investment into the team. They brought loads of people in, a brand new factory, but then these systems, the knowledge that the top teams have, that wasn't fully sort of integrated and part of the Aston Martin team. Adrian Newey has now brought that knowledge. He's worked for Red Bull for so long. He's seen it progress from a small team that has just started out in Formula One to the absolute behemoth that it is. And he knows that, what makes the team tick, what is the biggest factor in making a Formula One team a top team. And a similar thing that we saw from James Vowell. When James Vowell left Mercedes, he of course had all of the knowledge of what made Mercedes successful, and he passed that on to Williams. He made some changes. He was of course the leader he's of course team principal, and he's leading from the front. And I think Adrian Newey has now done the same thing. He's leading the aerodynamics team and the technical team from the front. He's saying, this is what needs to be done to ensure that we have the best possible upgrades and things like that. And Aston Martin's upgrades, the first upgrade after Adrian Newey joined, was a massive success. So I think that James Vowell's coming from Mercedes, he's brought a lot of knowledge from what a top team is and what makes them successful. Adrian Newey's done the same thing from Red Bull to Aston Martin, and we are going to have a fantastic fight on our hands for 2026. So yeah, I think it's incredible, really, and we'll see what Aston Martin can do. Maybe in 2026 they'll have the championship winning car, maybe not. But I think this weekend, my prediction, Fernando Alonso sticks it in the top 3 because he can just put together a mega qualifying lap. Yeah. All right, we've got 4 minutes left now till the start of QUALI. Thank you everyone for tuning in. We've got 4 minutes and 30 seconds left to go, and the sun is shining out in Monaco. Thank you everyone for hitting the like button as well. Very much is appreciated. The like counter isn't updating because I forgot to press update. Fantastic. And there we go. Now we're going to update every 15 seconds. We got 700 likes. That is fantastic. Thanks everyone for pressing the like button. If you haven't already, be sure to do so, and be sure to subscribe as well. Hopefully we can hit 162k subs today. Not too far off. Currently, how many more do we need? Like 439, 440, yeah, 404, yeah, 440. Okay. So our Porsche coming in 2026 I don't think so. No, Porsche aren't coming in 2026. Cadillac are, and Audi is buying out not buying out, but fully sponsoring the Sauber team. And oh my God, we're already getting Q at the end of the pit lane here, ladies and gents. You can see the little dots forming up just there before the start-finish line, and yeah, we are getting a queue forming here in Monaco, and the drivers are getting ready to go out for the session. Can you do another lap? Why not? All right, so let's do an onboard. We got, yeah. So here we go then. Coming towards the final corner. You're trying to get a straight line exit, really. Get the power down in a straight line. When you accelerate down the straight, up into 7th gear with the DRS flap open. Braking straight line for Saint-Devote. Just, skim the barrier on the exit. That's the fastest way to go about it. Then tap the brakes here and just let the car rotate. It's quite a long corner. You've just got to let the car rotate through there. Then the camber helps you through the casino corner. Now towards Mirabeau, where you're braking downhill. Very easy to lock up, but there is an escape road to help you out if you do. And then you've got the Lowe's hairpin, super duper slow, max steering lock through there. And now towards Poitiers, down the hill you go right up to the harbour. And just important to get a good exit out of here. Through the tunnel you go. No DRS through the tunnel because this kink in the road is quite big actually, and the cars would spin out if the DRS flap was open. Straight line braking for the Nouvelle chicane. Make sure not to clip your rear wheel there, because that's what Isaac Hadjar did in FP1. Ended pretty badly with a puncture. Through to back you go. Now towards the swimming pool chicane. Flat through the first chicane. Braking for the second one. Extremely close to the barriers, and now you've got the final corner of Rascasse where you can potentially make a move in the race. We've seen the moves go wrong, especially with these big cars. It's very easy to make a little mistake when you're trying to make an overtake into Rascasse, but turn number 1 and the Nouvelle chicane are the overtaking opportunities around here. But the other thing to take into account is the circuit is super duper narrow. As you can see, as you saw on the lap, there is basically no space to move about. There's no space to let drivers pass, and that is the big problem, ladies and gents, because traffic is going to be a very large factor in who's going to end up in first and who's not, because what we saw at the end of FP3 was loads of drivers were having their laps disrupted by traffic. They were going on a quick lap and then, there's traffic, so I have to back out. There's traffic, I have to back out. And we saw that happen about 4 or 5 times for loads of different drivers. And that is that's only really going to be a problem in Q1. In Q2, of course, you'll get 5 less cars, which means everyone can spread out a little bit more. In Q3, of course, you'll only have 10 cars, which means everyone's really spread out and there's no issues there. But at the start of Q3, at the start of Q1, there's going to be a whole bunch of traffic, and everyone's going to be just making sure, keeping their eyes peeled with all of the traffic, trying not to impede anyone, because if you do impede anyone, you've got a 3-place grid penalty coming your way, you've got a 5-place grid penalty coming your way. It is not ideal, and will really hamper your chances of scoring points here in Monaco. Can you really call it a puncture when the entire rim shattering is what caused the tire to go? Either way, yeah. I mean, it looked like a puncture, but yeah, the rim got hit into the barrier, and it basically just broke, and then the tire also fell off. So either way, it's not ideal. You don't want to be clipping the rear of your car. This is the one thing around Monaco, because there are a couple of corners that have sort of sharp apexes, and like it's sort of 90-degree barrier or like a very pointy barrier. The front of your Formula One car is slightly narrower by like 2-3 centimeters. I don't know the exact figure, but it's slightly narrower than the rear of your car, and because of that, you can get through the front of the corner just fine. Like the front half of your car can get through just fine, but then the rear of your car, if you're like within 2 centimeters of the barrier, your rear tire is going to actually clip the barrier and then you're screwed. So the drivers do have to be careful about that one. All right, let me get rid of this countdown timer, and we'll have the fastest sectors up there on the screen. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome along to the most important qualifying session of the season here in Monaco. We have got Pierre Gasly coming out on medium tyres. Interesting. I will double check that they are actually mediums, but given that Colapinto has also come out on medium tyres, it's a bold strategy, interesting strategy. Track temperature, as you can see, is 42 degrees, and what that means is the soft tyres are going to suffer a little bit from overheating. It may be theoretically a little bit faster to go out on the mediums, so I think Gasly and Colapinto are going out just to start with those to see if it works or not. If not, if it doesn't work, if it's slower than all the soft running, then they easily have enough time to come back into the pits, change tyres, and go again. Okay. It's shocking how easy the rims seem to shatter from touching the barriers lightly. Well, it is, it's shocking, but also the cars are going at like 150 Ks at that point. So 150 Ks of, you touch anything going at 150 kilometers an hour, it's not that surprising that it breaks. It's just that we're, of course, very used to seeing these cars go very quickly. Yeah. Okie doke. So, hello, Kiers. Nice to see you're in the chat. F1 Gamer, is it fair that Behrman has a 10-place penalty? I mean, the 10-place penalty was purely due to a breach in safety regulations, and these safety regulations are there for a reason. People have been injured, people have been hurt, so they have to be upheld, and they have to be strict penalties. Otherwise, people will ignore them. They will not, they'll make small mistakes here and there, which could result in huge consequences. So I understand why it's done, why they gave out a 10-place grid penalty. I don't think it's, I would say it's fair. He made a mistake, but I don't see it happening particularly often, so it's not really an issue. All right. Yeah, if they were giving out 10-place grid penalties for, like, touching another driver while during a race or something, then yeah, obviously I would be like, that's stupid. Even though, but anyway, it's point. I'm just going to carry on with the rest of the session now. We've got Carlos, in fact, Nico Hulkenberg here on a flying lap, Ocon as well. Quite a few drivers are underway on their flying lap. Top speeds we're going to see around here, 283 kilometers an hour is what we've been seeing through the speed traps, the highest this weekend so far. And the lowest that we've seen is 275s for the drivers. So not the huge difference between top speeds. And the first lap time on the board, a 1:15.4. Oh, look at this. We're getting warm-up laps here. Double warm-up laps from Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. As you can see, the pole time is 1:10 from last year. The drivers have been doing 1:11s in practice, and Sainz and Albon 10 seconds off the pace, so that means they're doing a warm-up lap, getting the tyres up into temperature, and then going to do their running. All right. So Nico Hulkenberg up at the top of the times, 1.2 seconds clear of Ollie Behrman on those set of soft tyres, and Colapinto as Gasly as well. They are out. All right, Albon on a flying lap here, purple in the first sector, looking really good is Alex Albon. We've got Charles Leclerc on a flying lap as well. In fact, Charles Leclerc is slower than Albon in the first sector, so maybe the warm-up lap is a really good strategy to go for, because Charles Leclerc still looks like he's attacking, actually. Yeah, Charles Leclerc's on a push lap, and Albon goes quicker in the first sector. So does Lawson, in fact. Not the best start to the... Yeah, not the best start for Charles Leclerc so far. But anyway, Albon across the line, he goes 2/10 clear of Nico Hulkenberg. Sainz across the line, he goes half a second back from his teammate, losing time in the first and the third sector. All right, Fernando Alonso comes across the line. He's, 1:30. He was also doing a warm-up lap. You can clearly see he's, 18 seconds off the pace. But Leclerc goes purple in the middle sector and goes top of the times anyway. He's slower than Albon in the first sector, but quicker than him in the rest of the lap, and goes a 10th clear of Alex Albon. Liam Lawson goes purple in the middle sector, actually takes that away from Charles Leclerc. Antonelli now purple in the first, Lawson purple in the second, and Hamilton quickest through the speed trap, but only 6th position for him, 6/10 back from his teammate. And then we're the only driver currently still in the pits is Max Verstappen. It looks like he's waiting for all the traffic to come in, and then he's going to do his quali lap. He knows that he can get his lap done in one or two attempts, and there's not too much to worry there for Mr. Franz Hermann. All right, Kimi Antonelli across the line, second place for him. Liam Lawson up into first, great lap from the youngster, and yeah, brilliant. Hadjar is in 5th position. He's 3/10 back from Lawson, so pretty good going from Liam there. All right, Lance Stroll purple in the first sector. The dream is still alive, ladies and gents. If Stroll can go purple in the first sector, Fernando Alonso can definitely go 3rd position in qualifying. We'll wait and see if that can happen. Verstappen finally exits the pit lane, and he'll be going on his way to start a lap. All right. And then next across the line, we have Alonso, 4th position for him. Brilliant job. Let's see what Albon starts his flying lap. Stroll across the line. Stroll 1st position. Ladies and gentlemen, we are entering the Lance Stroll era. He is in 1st. Alonso's in 5th. What is going on here? And we get Behrman into 2nd. Ocon into 8th. Tsunoda comes across the line for his first lap. 4th position for Tsunoda. Not too shabby there. And look at this. The top 4 drivers are all within a 10th of a second. Incredible how close the competition is. Gasly goes up into 3rd. Now the top 5 drivers are within a 10th of a second, and Charles Leclerc is starting his lap now. He's done one cool down lap / just keeping his tyres in the correct window lap, and he's starting his second flying lap now. Hülkenberg across the line, 6th place for him. Purple in the final sector as well for Nico Hülkenberg. Lando Norris takes that away from him and goes 18 milliseconds ahead of Lance Stroll. Very, very close there. I would have expected the McLarens to be a huge margin ahead, but it's only 1/12 for Lando Norris. Oscar Piastri, yeah, he delivers, and he goes 4/10 clear of Lando Norris. However, it's not done just yet. Verstappen's on his flying lap. Verstappen's on a warm-up lap, sorry. Hamilton is on a flying lap, and we are getting some lap times deleted here, ladies and gents. Bortoletto's got a lap time deleted. Antonelli has got one deleted, but they're all laps that were slower than their personal best, I think, apart from Bortoletto. Bortoletto's one will get deleted. Everyone else's lap times aren't, the relevant lap times aren't getting deleted, so it's fine. Sainz across the line, 2nd place. Albon was momentarily 2nd before his teammate took that away from him, but the Williams are looking good as well. Split the 2 McLarens, and oh my goodness me, here comes Charles Leclerc. It's 1st position, 3.5 clear of Oscar Piastri. Brilliant job. And Hamilton goes up into 2nd. Ferrari 1-2. And the delusion is back, the hopium, the copium, everything is here, and it's a 1-2 for Ferrari, unless Max Verstappen can do anything about it. George Russell across the line, 4th place for him, and we have got Hadjar purple in the first sector, Max Verstappen purple in the second sector. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. Russell says his front brakes are smoking, still he manages to set 4th position lap. Lawson across the line, 5th place for him, and now we've got Max Verstappen out of the final corner. What can he do? This has been a great lap so far. Across the line he goes. 1st position for Max Verstappen. 2/10 clear of Charles Leclerc. Thank you very much, says Franz Hermann, and I'll take it from here. All right, and Hadjar across the line, 8th, 7th place for him, and here comes Fernando Alonso. Tsunoda goes purple in the first sector. Incredible. He goes quicker than Max in the first sector. Alonso across the line, 3rd place for Fernando Alonso. Track evolution is also kicking in here, folks. We haven't had that much running around Monaco, so the circuit is still ramping up as the session progresses. We've got 9 minutes and 20 seconds left of the session. Lando Norris goes purple in the first sector, takes that away from Tsunoda. Ocon across the line, 6th place for him, and then we've got Behrman across the line, 5th place for him. Looking really good is Ollie Behrman. And all right, Piastri now goes quicker than Norris. The sector times are tumbling, essentially. Every single time I say someone's got a fastest first sector, another driver comes along and takes that away from them. Tsunoda across the line, he comes into 6th place. He's half a second back from his teammate. And we've got Colapinto across the line on the medium tyres still, and in 13th position. Hülkenberg improves up into 12th. And then we've got Piastri on his lap. He had to Has he backed out of it? I think Piastri might have. I don't know. I don't know if he's backed out of it, but Lando Norris definitely didn't back out of it. 3/10 ahead of Max Verstappen. Great lap there by Lando, and let's see what Piastri can do. Then, did he back out of his lap? No, he did not. But his middle sector was not as good as his teammates. He comes out of the final corner now. Let's see what Oscar Piastri can do. Across the line he goes. It's second place for him, 2/10 back from his teammate. Max Verstappen is starting his flying lap now. He's done a cool down lap. He's getting ready to go again. Antonelli across the line, 7th place for him. We're just getting laps coming in constantly. Constantly laps are coming in, and everyone, all of the positions are changing about there. And Albon now up into 5th position. We'll see what Carlos Sainz can do as he comes across the line. Alonso starting his 2nd, 3rd flying lap, and Sainz in 5th position there as well. So it's a really close fight, actually, between the Williams, the Ferraris, the Red Bulls, and then it seems like McLarens are a little bit ahead of everyone else. Okie dokes. 7 minutes and 30 seconds remain of the session. Lewis Hamilton comes across the line, 5th place for him. We got a lot more drivers coming into the pits now. They're going to put on a fresh set of tyres, refuel the car to minimum fuel load, and then they're going to get running. Okay, and Verstappen, purple in the first sector, looking good in the second sector, marginally behind on Lewis Hamilton's time, but still 2/10 back from Norris's. He's 7 milliseconds back from Norris's time in the middle sector. Here he comes now in the final sector. This is the final sector that got him pole position in 2023, and what can he do? Comes out of the final corner, across the line. It's only 4th place there for Max, and not a significant... Well, he does improve, not enough to gain that many places, and he stays in 4th. But the competition is fierce. The competition is really, really close here. And action's died down a little bit. Everyone's done their first set of quali runs now. They're all going to come back into the pits. They're all going to refuel the car. They're all going to put on a fresh set of softs, and they're gonna go again. Okay. Currently, the elimination zone, Lawson, Hadjar, Hulkenberg, Colapinto, Gasly, and George Russell is dangerously close to the elimination zone. However, he is on a flying lap, so let's see what he can do. Alright, Tsunoda still got some lap time to improve, really. He's 8/10 back from Lando Norris. He's 6/10 back from his teammate. Norris looking great in the middle sector, and Leclerc and Hamilton continuing on, really. Lap times are in the 1 minute 11.7 and 1 minute 11.5 from Norris, but that's still 1.3 seconds back from Charles Leclerc's pole time from last year. So there's still a lot of lap time left on the table. We've got 24,000 people tuning into the live stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. George Russell across the line, 3rd place for him. That's more of what we expect from Mr. George Russell. Mr. Saturday himself putting in a good lap, and he is a pretty significant chunk ahead of his teammate. That is to be expected, really. Antonelli's going to have a tough time around here. He hasn't driven a Formula 1 car here in quali before. Piastri improves, goes ahead of his teammate by 0.2 of a second, so looking good there from Oscar. And yeah, fantastic. All right, we got 25,000 people tuned into the live stream. Folks, if you haven't hit the like button, be sure to do so. It really does help out the channel. If you are enjoying the coverage, I'll be commentating for the race tomorrow as well. We're going to have so much action with so many pit stops. I can't guarantee on-track overtakes, but I can tell you the strategy is going to get very, very interesting, and it'll be lovely to read all the radio messages to see what's going on in the teams. All right. Here we go then. A couple more laps coming in soon enough then. 4 minutes and 40 seconds left on the clock. The only driver still in the pits is Max Verstappen. He's just basically sort of staggered behind everyone else because he started out the session the last driver coming out of the pits. He's going to, in the second set of runs as well, he's going to be the last driver coming out of the pits. Hulkenberg across the line up into 6th position. Good job there from Nico Hulkenberg, and we'll see what he can do. And if he can make it out of Q1, the Saubers aren't always the quickest car, as we know. However, they do. Nico Hulkenberg is quite a good Formula 1 driver. He has a lot of experience around Monaco. I'm sure he'll be able to pull out a good lap to get them through into Q2. We've got Leclerc purple in the first sector. Hadjar across the line, 7th place for him. That is a nice improvement there for Hadjar. And Bortoleto as well into 11th place, so pretty solid from him. We got Antonelli across the line, 6th place for him. We got Fernando Alonso starting a flying lap. All right. And Oscar Piastri currently in the pit lane. He'll be... he's coming out just now, in fact. Yeah, coming out just now. And looking good, looking good. All right. Charles Leclerc is green in the middle sector. He's 2/10 up on Oscar Piastri's time. When he comes across the line, he goes 1.5 tenths up, loses a bit of time in the final sector to Piastri, but regardless, great lap there from Charles Leclerc, 1.5 tenths clear, and it looks pretty safe to say the Ferraris are going to be in the fight for pole position, and Charles Leclerc could get back-to-back pole positions at his home Grand Prix, which would be absolutely mega for him, and he's currently also on his way towards a Grand Slam. You know, he's topped every single practice session. Now he's got to top quali, lead every lap in the race, and also win the race. But the hope is still alive for Charles Leclerc, which would be mega to get a Grand Slam here in Monaco at his home Grand Prix. 1 year after breaking the Monaco curse is that would be insane. For any of you folks that don't know, a Grand Slam is winning every single, it's coming top of every single practice session. It is getting pole position in the race, leading every single lap, fastest lap of the race, and also winning the race. That is what a Grand Slam is, and Charles Leclerc is the only driver that could get a Grand Slam this weekend. Let's put it that way. All right, Yuki Tsunoda improves up into 9th place for him, and we got Albon across the line, 4th place for him. Currently in the elimination zone, we got Bortoleto, Alonso, Behrman, Stroll, and Colapinto. 2 minutes left on the clock, and not long left to go now before the bottom 5 drivers will get eliminated. Okay. Here comes Charles Leclerc. He's done a cool down lap. Look at this, 10 lap old soft tyres for Charles Leclerc. Sainz improves. He's on a fresh set of softs, obviously. So that's why, Williams are up in 4th and 5th place. They're on fresh tyres. The other guys are on old tyres. But yeah, it's pretty tough running here. We'll wait and see who can make it through and who can't. 1 minute and 20 seconds remain. So you've got to be out at the pit lane now. You've got to all be queuing up at Rascasse to get your laps in. Max Verstappen starts his flying lap. There is also potential now, if there's a yellow flag or a red flag or something, the session won't restart and the positions will end the way they are right now. So if there's a yellow flag, we'll keep an eye out and we'll see if Bortoleto, Alonso, Behrman, Stroll, Colapinto get eliminated. Piastri purple in the middle sector, looking really good is Oscar Piastri, and now he's got a little bit of traffic to contend with. Hopefully Tsunoda and Bortoleto get out of the way nicely. Yes, they do, and here comes Oscar Piastri now out of the final corner. What can he do against Charles Leclerc? He can get close, but not close enough. Charles Leclerc stays in first position. Alright, and now our eyes focus to the drivers in the bottom 5. Oliver Behrman is coming to the end of his qualifying lap. There's 30 seconds left on the clock. Leclerc and Antonelli get out of the way for him. Across the line comes Oliver Behrman. He's currently in 18th position. He needs to get out of the bottom 5. What can he do? It's 13th place for him. It's good. Is it going to be good enough? Only time will tell. Hamilton goes purple in the middle sector, and Gasly improves up into 14th. Still very, very fine margins here. Hamilton currently in 15th position. He's got to put this lap together, and let's see what he can do. Alright, checkered flag has fallen. Max Verstappen across the line, 3rd place for him. He's 2 tenths back from Charles Leclerc. Hamilton across the line, 4th place for him. Great lap there from Lewis. He's on a fresh set of tyres, and so is Max Verstappen. Piastri and Leclerc, they're on used sets. They haven't used another set of softs, but Verstappen and Hamilton, they did have to take a fresh set. Lawson across the line, that is 9th place for him. Alonso improves up into 7th, so he should be fine from getting eliminated. Norris improves up into 2nd position, and then we've got Tsunoda across the line, 10th place for him. That makes him safe as well. Oh, yellow flag is out. Who is that? Antonelli through the Nouvelle chicane. There has been an incident there, and that could stop anyone else from behind him from completing their quality laps. Russell improves across the line, 5th place for him. Yellow flags are still out at the Nouvelle chicane, and the drivers in the elimination zone are Bortoleto, Behrman, Gasly, Stroll, roll and collar pinter, red flags out, session's over, and let me just confirm what happened to Antonelli. But you know, the Italian fans, the Ferrari fans are not going to be happy. Antonelli's damaged his front left suspension. He's not taking part in Q2. They're not getting that one repaired quickly. But yeah, going through the Nouvelle chicane damaged the car. And in fact, I'll just show you on the onboard of what happened to Antonelli. Okie doke, so let me just speed it up to the correct bit. Alright, so he's going towards the Nouvelle chicane, and he has crashed just here, so straight ahead basically. He's made it through this part of the corner, but then into the Pirelli barrier. That's where he's crashed, into the Pirelli barrier, like straight on. That's where he's ended up. I don't know exactly how he's done that, but there's 3 Pirelli logos there. In the left one, that's where his car is parked up. We're just getting the replay now. So he's going through the tunnel and now heads towards the Nouvelle chicane, gets onto the brakes nicely, doesn't lock up, but then clips the rear tire. He's clipped the rear. He did exactly what Isaac Hadjar did, and clipped the front and clipped the rear, I think. Did his front? Oh yeah, he clipped the front and then also clipped the rear. Just cutting it to the margins were too close there for Antonelli. Into the bar as he went, and the session, the Q2 start will be delayed by about 2-3 minutes, but the marshals are already there at the scene. They're ready with the car to pick him up, and we should be getting underway for Q2 very, very soon, ladies and gents. All right. Not the best of starts there, but 1 red flag so far. Okay, Behrman in B27, yeah. Yeah, he's not a great start there for Behrman. I mean, the thing is, Behrman knows that he's got a 10-place grid penalty, so he could probably just not attack whatsoever and not compromise, you know, crashing the car. Oh, we got a replay here from Max. It looks like he got traffic going through... Beau Rivage, or Massenet, let's say. The corner between Beau Rivage and the casino, turn number 3 is Massenet, and he had traffic and had a snap of the car and then backed out of his lap. So he wasn't particularly pleased about that. And that explains the lap time gap, really. You would have expected Max to be a lot closer to the front rather than being 2 tenths back. But... yeah, he is. It's 2 tenths back after that little mistake that he had. Oh well, no, actually backed out of that lap one. So I don't know. He's just got some more pace to find. Really has Max. Check your subs. Yeah, we're getting pretty close to our subscriber target, folks. If you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so. We got 26,000 people tuning into live stream. That's incredible. We will be getting underway for Q2 very, very soon. They've just sent a message over from race control saying it's going to be delayed because, of course, Antonelli's just crashed it right at the end there. But I will get you, I'll show you the onboard lap of Monaco. So here you are coming out of Raskas corner. As you can see, it's very, very narrow. That's why the issues with traffic were so difficult to deal with. But you come down the start-finish straight, open the DRS lap, stick to the inside line as well to minimize the distance that you travel, and then braking a straight line for Sandoval. Up the hill you go now towards Beau Rivage. And this is where Max Verstappen encountered traffic. So yeah, just this left-hander here, there was traffic on the inside line, and Verstappen had to back out of his lap. Then you go through Casino, avoid the bump on the right-hand side by moving over to the right, and then avoid the bump on the left by moving over to the right. Then you go towards the Lowe's hairpin, just the slowest corner, max steering lock as you go through there, just waiting to get onto the power. It's a very long waiting game. And then you go towards Portier, where you've got to brake for about only like 10 meters before you turn the car in again. Not a very big braking zone. Then now towards the Nouvelle chicane. This is where Antonelli crashed, and clearly I missed the apex by quite a margin there, and that's why I didn't crash. But yeah, Antonelli got very, very close there, and then ended up having an impact with the barrier. Now through the swimming pool chicane, where you got to rub the barrier, get as close as possible, and then towards Raskas you go for the penultimate corner. Just want to get a good exit out of the final corner here, and this is another one of those corners where you've got a sharp apex. So if your front wheel gets by, there is still a chance that you could clip your rear wheel against the barrier, and you do have to be careful coming out the final corner for that one as well. But that is the onboard of the Monaco Grand Prix circuit. Fantastic, fantastic. Why does Leclerc randomly do the greatest in Monaco? I don't know why, and I would appreciate it if you didn't spam in the chat. Okay. When's Q2? Normally Q2 will have started like right about now. However, Anthony just crashed into the barriers, so we're going to be getting a 1 or 2 or 3 minute delay. Okay, I'm going to have a quick sip of water. Thank you everyone for coming along for Q1. We've got Q2 and Q3 ahead. In fact, the track has been declared clear. The DRS has been enabled, so we should be good to go very, very soon for Q2. Okay, and also just up on the screen, the green line is the DRS zone on the circuit. The green dot is the DRS activation point, and the purple dot is the speed trap. So the speed trap speeds that are scrolling across the bottom of your screen there. The quickest we've seen is 282 from Alex Albon, and that's where the speed trap is. The speed trap, if you don't know what a speed trap is, it's basically just a speed camera, really. They're just measuring their speed. You just don't get a fine for driving too quickly, really, because it's Formula 1. Okay, can you watch QUALI in Austria? Yes, you can. So I do have to mention this, folks. If you guys are interested, there's a link in the description to Surfshark VPN. If you want to watch Formula 1 for $2 a month, all you've got to do is use the link in the description, get Surfshark VPN, then you join an Austrian VPN server. You download it onto your computer or your phone, you join an Austrian VPN server, you go onto Google, you search Servers TV, you make an account, you log in, and then you watch Formula 1 for free. Obviously you have to pay the $2 a month for Surfshark, but Servers TV is free, and the commentary is in German, so if you're from Germany or if you understand German, then that's perfect. If not, then you can mute the commentary and sync it up with my commentary, and you can listen to my commentary with the actual footage rather than just the data. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and check that out. There's a link in the description. But yeah, Q2 is starting in 3 minutes time. So I can probably put a timer up on the screen for when Q2 is starting. All right, let me just stick it up there. But as expected, qualifying will always be delayed around Monaco. You just have so many incidents going on. All right, there we go. Qualifying starts in 2 minutes and 30 seconds. F1 Gamer, you driving the game? What version is this? I am driving F1 2021. However, EA Sports have got in contact with me because, my name is F1 Gamer, so they thought that I actually do gaming. But EA Sports have actually sent me a code to play F1 25. I actually haven't downloaded it yet, to be honest, because they only sent it yesterday. But I might play that. I don't know. I'll have to see, but I haven't got my steering wheel here. My steering wheel's back at home, and currently I've just got my Xbox controller, which is not ideal. Barely any gaming. Yeah, absolutely no gaming here, apart from the QUALI laps that you see me record. Yeah. Okie dokes. So we see the bottom 5 drivers eliminated. Antonelli also eliminated pretty much after crashing his car. So we've basically got 6 drivers eliminated, 14 drivers taking part in Q2. And that's going to really ease up the traffic problem now. And the drivers are going to be a lot more spread out. So it should be nice. All right. So here we go then. 15 minutes for Q2, 12 minutes for Q3, and as you can see there, we've got a timer starting in 1 minute's time. Thank you everyone for sticking along. We've got 22,000 people just listening to me yap, really, for no apparent reason. I'm just not even yapping about Formula 1. Well, actually I am, but yeah, no action on the track for now, but we will be getting underway in 50 seconds, as you can see on the screen. But yeah. Not much else now. Everyone queuing up to the end of the pit lane, getting ready to go racing. And all right, will Stroll start last or Oliver? It will be Oliver. Stroll's. Colapinto is in 20th position, but yeah, Behrman has got a 10-place grid penalty, so he's starting in last. Gasly gets promoted up to 17th. Stroll gets promoted up to 18th, and Colapinto gets promoted up to 19th, and Behrman in 20th. What do the numbers next to the ST bar mean? The numbers are the speed trap speeds. It's just that once all of the data actually fills up, like once the sector times get filled up and the best times gets filled up and all of the screen gets filled up, they just get pushed off the side of the screen. But they're just there. for completeness sake, really. Okay. Also, ladies and gentlemen, I've got some interesting news. Thank you for the donation, Banana Goat predictions on Q2. I am going to predict that. Let's have a prediction. Okay, an interesting prediction. I think that I think Tsunoda's going to get eliminated in Q2. That is my prediction. Oh, medium tires. Interesting choice here for the Williams team. They're out on the mediums. Ferrari 1-2, no, Lawson P1. Well, interesting strategy. If Lawson ends up on P1, but Charles Leclerc also coming out on medium tires. Okay. Normally when Williams does a strategy, it's half decent, but Ferrari doing the same thing. Now it's a little bit more questionable, isn't it? Okay. Yeah, both Ferraris are on medium tires as well. Now I don't know if it's the best strategy. Okay, let me get rid of this timer here for quali starts, and then you'll have the best sectors up on the screen as well. Okay, what are the compounds this weekend? The C6, the C5, the C4, the softest of Pirelli's range. They tested out the C6 in Imola. They found they were happy with it, and we've got the C6s here in Monaco. All right. So here we go then, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have our first qualifying lap from Mr. Nico Hülkenberg in Q2, sorry. Yeah, he's making his way through Massenet now towards the casino section, and I think he's not actually pushing all that hard because he might be just doing 22 in the first sector. That is 3 seconds off the pace. He's backing off and doing a warm-up lap. Looks like a lot of drivers are doing a warm-up lap now. The thing about Monaco is it is the shortest circuit on the Formula 1 calendar. And, normally you just think, the drivers need 1 lap to warm up their tyres. It's not so much 1 lap. They need around, 3, 4, 5 kilometers of driving to actually warm the tyres up. Monaco, I think Monaco is 2.5 kilometers. I might be mistaken there. But Monaco is really short, so essentially the drivers just need an extra lap to warm those tyres up, get them up into the correct temperature range, get the brakes up into the correct temperature range as well. There's not that many heavy braking zones around here, Sandevot, fairly big braking zone. You tap the brakes into Massenet, you tap the brakes into Casino, into Mirabeau as well, tapping the brakes, Portier tapping the brakes. The Nouvelle Chicane, you've got a big braking zone, but again, it's all small braking zones around Monaco, and that's why getting the brakes into the correct window as well is also a bit of an issue. So the drivers take their time and get everything perfect for when they go qualifying. So yeah, Hülkenberg 122.4, that's 12 seconds off the pace. So this is now his proper flying lap. So here we go then. It's a 112 there from Ocon. Alonso immediately on the pace there. 111.8 from him. Looking good from Alonso. Lawson goes a 111.6. And Charles Leclerc's purple in the middle sector. Looking good. Slower than his previous middle sector. Oh no. Yeah, slower than the quickest middle sector from the first from Q1, but regardless, a very quick middle sector. That's quickly been taken away by Lando Norris. Actually, Norris goes 3 tenths clear of what Leclerc did in the middle sector. Hadjar across the line, 3rd place for him. And now let's see, we've seen Lawson, we've seen Hadjar and Alonso do their laps immediately. They came out of the grid, immediately did their laps. We'll see what Nico Hülkenberg can do now. After he did an extra warm-up, maybe that helped him out, maybe it didn't. But he comes across the line, let's see what he can do. Norris, though, across the line, 3.5 tenths ahead of Charles Leclerc. Hülkenberg across the line, and he goes just off the back of Fernando Alonso. And given that, the Sauber, I would say probably isn't as quick as the Aston, it might be the strategy to go forward with. Do a double warm-up. But Verstappen comes across the line, 2nd place for him. He's a 10.5 back off Lando Norris. We've got Charles Leclerc on the medium tyres. In 3rd place, Albon on the mediums as well in 4th position. But Sainz, however, his lap wasn't all that great. He was down in 10th place. Hamilton as well down in 9th. So, yeah, 9th and 10th for Hamilton and Sainz. Oh, yellow flag. Who's that? Russell through the... another issue. Is that engine issue for George Russell. Surely he's not crashed in the tunnel. No, I don't think he's crashed in the tunnel. Looks like it's an engine issue. He's got something red on his steering wheel, like a red bar, and he is crawling through the tunnel. Red flag is out. I don't think he's got damage, but I mean, they surely could have just deployed. Oh, I guess they can't deploy VSC during quali, I don't think. But red flag's out. 2 Mercs now. And it looks like 14th and 15th place start for the Mercedes team. Oh, it's a bad day to be a Mercedes fan, really. Yeah, bad day indeed. Stopped on the side of the circuit, and let's have a look at his team radio messages. Plan B, turn off, turn on. Yep, let's give it a go. Okay, so that's what they're doing. They're turning everything off. They're turning everything back on again, you know, pretty much like a computer. These Formula 1 cars are pretty complicated, and it looks like he may have got things moving again. Maybe not, actually. I don't know. He's got more lights up on his steering wheel. He's got some, you know, lights flashing here and there. Can he get it restarted, or will he need... yeah, oh, it says, yeah, there's no battery. I think that's game over. Sorry, mate, I got no battery. How they ran out of battery? Was he on a quali lap? Russell wasn't on a quali lap, but he's run out of battery while he was on a warm-up lap. Did they not charge the battery in the pit lane? Were they not charging the battery during the flying lap? Somehow his car's batteries run out. And Russell just shakes his head, being like, oh my God. And the thing is, will he be able to take part in this rest of the session? I don't think so. He looks pretty frustrated with this. And battery, I mean, maybe it's a battery defect. But yeah, they've switched everything off now. They've said, yeah, I'm going to jump now. Everyone's gone past. So yeah, he's getting out of the car now. All right. Well, session... second red flag of the day, ladies and gents. How many more red flags do you think we're going to have? But the marshals are now made their way towards the tunnel. And George Russell is... the marshals are telling him to sit in the car. What? Okay. Well, they've just... oh, okay. He's going to sit in the car and do the steering for the marshals. Okay. The marshals are now pushing him through. Oh, they could have tried a jump start. You know, if the battery's died, you can always try a jump start to try and get these things going. I don't know why they didn't think of that one. Yeah. What? And now they've stopped pushing him into the barrier. What's going on here? Lando cooking. I mean, Lando's, yeah, great lap there from Lando. But his thing is, Leclerc is on the mediums. I don't know if the mediums are quicker or slower, but there's normally a 4/10 of a second difference between the mediums and the softs, and Leclerc is within 4/10 of Lando. So he's cooking, but Charles Leclerc might be cooking even harder. Yeah, oh, folks, I'm joking about jump starting a Formula 1 car. Like, I don't know if I made that particularly clear, but I'm being very sarcastic when I say, oh yeah, let's just push the car and jump start it. George's car is a mystery. First the GPS, now the battery. Yeah, maybe kickstart the car, actually. That might work. Okay, and Piastri was on a great lap as well. Piastri purple in the first sector, and unfortunately that got cut short. Can you put a timer on when Q2 resumes? I mean, I will put a timer once I actually find out when it resumes. The FIA normally send a message over race control saying, oh, the session's restarting now, but they haven't sent such a message just yet. If the soft tyres are supposedly the fastest, why not all of the teams running the softs? What's the strategy behind the mediums? Okay, well, there's 2 aspects to the strategy. Firstly is that you don't have that many sets of soft tyres, especially during the free practice sessions. We saw the teams use the soft tyres a lot more than they normally do, which meant that they've obviously just driven around on them a lot more, so they don't have that many fresh sets. And the other aspect is that because track temperature is 40 degrees and the sun is sort of baking the asphalt, it means that they can't push as hard on the softs because they'll start overheating. So then the alternative is to use the medium tyres, which don't overheat as much, and that's what some of the teams are doing. Okay. On your Instagram or TikTok, yeah, I have an Instagram, F1_gamer_5. You know, feel free to follow, feel free to DM, whatever. But yeah, George Russell finally got out of the car now. The marshals have pushed him off into the escape road, and we should be good to restart the quali session. And it looks like George Russell will not be taking part in the rest of the session, unfortunately. It's a Mercedes 1415. Not ideal. 1415 for Mercedes. And in Monaco as well. You know, if you're at a different circuit like Baku, sure, you could overtake, you could recover. But a Monaco starting grid position of 1415 for Mercedes, I mean, that is brutal. Absolutely tragic. But DRS has been enabled, track is clear, and it looks like we are ready to go qualify again, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you everyone for tuning in, coming along, and we'll be getting underway very, very shortly. We're getting pretty close to our subscriber target as well. I guess I should have put that a little bit higher maybe, but we are, 41 subscribers away now. So folks, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, be sure to do so, and very much would be appreciated. All right, we still haven't found out when the session's restarting. They haven't sent out a message on race control just yet. So here we go. But the mechanics are all waiting there. They basically just stood out there with their hands waiting, ready to go. Nico Hulkenberg's already half out of his garage. Incredible. I guess they're really urging to go. They want to go out right at the front as well. Orphan 1989, thanks for the $6 donation. George, we need you to push out the bottom and go like Fred Flintstone. Yeah, not ideal really for George. It says that he's in the pits. Interesting. Previously it said it was stopped, and now he says he's in the pits, but no. I've just got a shot of him, and George Russell's car is being lowered onto the back of a truck. Maybe they'll drive it back to the pits before the session restarts. Quali session resumes in 4 minutes time, or 3 minutes time actually. Let me just put that up on the screen. Yeah, there we go. All right, quali session restarts in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. We'll be getting underway very, very shortly. Frankie, thanks for joining the channel member. Very much is appreciated. That is fantastic. And thank you. F1 Gamer, would you like to see F1 return to Adelaide? Yeah, I mean, that'd be great, wouldn't it? Returning to Adelaide would be fantastic. If maybe, alternate races between Melbourne and Adelaide. It would be nice and be great. Mixing things up here and there. Oh, this is interesting. We're just talking the Sky Sports footage, just looking at the onboard feed really of how the drivers are tackling the Lowe's hairpin, and Max Verstappen, when going through the Lowe's hairpin, has to go for full lock, but he keeps both hands on the same side of the steering wheel, whereas Charles Leclerc, going through that corner, takes his hand off the steering wheel and just steers with one hand going through there, whereas Max Verstappen has got both hands pinned to the 9 and 3 positions of the steering wheel and rotates it around and just crosses his arms over. And Leclerc, however, just takes one hand off and goes through that corner one-handed. Interesting. Different driving techniques, different driving styles. All right. Look more, no hands, exactly. Yeah. Well, he's got to keep one hand on there, otherwise the power steering is going to turn the car straight, and he's going to go into a barrier. Why is it taking so long? I don't know. FIA things, really. If you ask me, I'll just blame the FIA, because why not? But yeah, I think he will. No, we're restarting very, very soon, so it doesn't matter. Can Kimi and George rejoin? Theoretically, I mean, if they can get firstly they can get the cars to the garage, and then they can get them repaired, and the issues resolved and fixed, then they can go and take part in the session again. However, that seems fairly unlikely. So let's see. Who do you think will get pole? I don't know. Charles Leclerc. Why not? Let's hope for Charles Leclerc. It'll be great for him to get pole position as home Grand Prix. But here we are now, folks. 15 seconds left of the timer, and all of the drivers are making their way up to well, they're already queued up at the end of the pit lane. Yeah, just on the screen there, the green dot is the DRS detection point. The purple dot is the speed trap. It's where the speed trap is located, and the green line is the DRS zone. Yeah. We got Nico Hulkenberg, first car out onto the track once again. The Saubers are queued up at the front of the pit lane. The McLarens are queued up at the I guess it depends which way you look at it, but the first driver to leave the pits will always be the Sauber because their garage is closest to the pit exit. The McLarens are the closest to the pit entry. Russell makes his way back to the pit lane, to the paddock and pit lane, but his car, however, does not. And that is him eliminated out of Q2 by the looks of it. Let me get rid of this countdown timer. And yeah, all right, let me get a quick sip of water as well. I'll be back in just a second. What happened to Stroll? A skill issue. Yeah, I mean, okay, no, I didn't actually see. Maybe he got blocked by traffic or something, but yeah, just couldn't hook a lap up together at the end of Q1. All right, so here we go then. Q2 is once again underway, now with 13 cars on the track rather than 15, what it should be in Q2. But, we continue on. Alex Albon, Carlos Sainz continue make their way around. They're also still out on the medium tyres. Fernando Alonso switches, actually. Alonso initially was on the softs, which he set his lap to get him up into 7th position. However, he comes now out on a set of medium tyres. So I think Astons are thinking that the medium tyres will work better. That's what happened in Imola as well. The medium tyres worked out better. Aston ended up in like 4th and 5th or 5th and 6th in quali. So some real good pace there from Aston on the mediums last weekend. I guess they're hoping to replicate that same success. How to watch Formula 1 with an Austrian VPN. Use the link in the description to get Surfshark VPN. And then I'll just put the instructions up there. You download it onto your computer, you download Surfshark, you join an Austrian VPN server, you go onto Google, you search Service TV, and then you make an account, log in, and watch Formula 1. Yeah, we've got around 200 people now on the channel that are watching it using Surfshark VPN. So it definitely does work. And, if it doesn't work, you can always refund your money, and it's not an issue. So if you guys are interested in watching Formula 1 for only $2 a month and not having to pay, the extortionate fees of ESPN or whatever, then you can always check out Surfshark VPN. There's a link in the description. And, yeah. All right, back to qualifying. We've got a purple first sector here from Charles Leclerc, and Hamilton looking pretty racy as well. So let's see what Hamilton can do. We've currently got the onboard of him going through towards the Nouvelle chicane, looking very nice from him. But Charles Leclerc, he's purple in the middle sector as well, having just incredible pace. Comes through Rascasse. Hamilton goes second quickest in the middle sector, still slower than his teammate by the finest of margins. Comes out the final corner, comes Charles Leclerc, and he goes, oh my god, 0.4 of a second clear of Lando Norris. Incredible lap. Purple in all 3 sectors for Charles Leclerc. Great, absolutely brilliant from him. Hamilton comes across the line. He's 0.3 back from his teammate. Wow, huge gap there. Yeah, really, really good there from Charles Leclerc. All right. Yeah, we've got 6 minutes 20 left on the clock, and we got Piastri here on a quick lap, currently in the elimination zone, but shouldn't be too much of an issue. He comes across the line, 4th place for him. He goes 2 milliseconds behind his teammate. Sainz now coming across the line. What can he do? In fact, Albon, coming across the line, and he goes up into 5th position there. He is about a 1/10 of a second back from Oscar Piastri, which really isn't too big considering that Albon's on the mediums. Maybe the mediums are faster, maybe they're not. Sainz comes across the line, 7th place for him. And I guess to really sort of see if the mediums are faster or not, you'd need a sort of driver pairing like Lando Norris or Oscar Piastri or Albon and Sainz, where they're both very close to each other most of the time, and give one driver a set of softs, give the other driver a set of mediums, and see who comes out quicker. Or if they're close enough, then it doesn't really matter. But yeah. All right, and who have we got left to go now? Sonoda is starting a lap. He did a warm-up lap. Leclerc now, he's done one cool-down lap. He's going for a second one on the same set of tyres, just to clarify. And I think Hamilton will be doing the same. Fernando Alonso is in fact on a flying lap here. This time on a set of medium tyres. He was previously on a set of softs. On the set of mediums, he managed to put himself up into 7th position, a 1:11.245. Okay. Looking good, looking good. Lando Norris improves out of everyone, and up into first place he goes, 11 milliseconds ahead of Charles Leclerc. The margins are going to be so close for qualifying. Okay, because normally, I do ask who do you think is going to get pole position, but now I want to ask how big do you think the gap is going to be between first and second place? I think it's going to be less than half a tenth of a second. That's what I personally think. It's going to be very, very close. Yeah. Lawson came across the line, 9th place for him. And here comes Yuki Tsunoda, and it's 10th place for him. It's not ideal, really. He's got to close up to Max a bit. To be fair, he's not that far off Max. He's only 3/10 off Max. Max has got to pick up the pace. He's in 6th position behind Williams. Yeah, I mean, it looks pretty close. We may get a quali, because it was the Canadian Grand Prix last year. Actually, Canadian Grand Prix last year, George Russell and Max Verstappen, I think, set the identical lap times in qualifying, and I think George Russell set it slightly before Verstappen did. But I think that's the closest we've had in recent times. I bet the top 4 will be within a tenth. Yeah, I suspect it's going to be that tight. All right, here we go then. Max Verstappen starts his flying lap as he comes towards Saint-Devote. Let's see what he can do. What does the blue and the red mean in the mini sector infographic? Blue means coming in or out of the pit lane. Red means the driver has stopped on the track. So yeah, that's what it is. So you'll only see blue mini sectors in sector 1 or in sector 3. It basically just tells you if the driver's on an in lap or an out lap. Okay, Charles Leclerc, purple in the middle sector, once again looking fantastic, and it looks like he's going to pip Lando Norris this time. He was slower in the personal best, slower than his personal best in the first sector, but only 11 milliseconds back from Norris this time. Here he comes across the start-finish line. What's it going to be for Charles Leclerc? And actually doesn't improve in the final sector. He's admittedly on used tyres, so you'd have to take that into account, but doesn't improve in the final sector, doesn't improve in the first sector, and he is about half a tenth back from his personal best lap time. All right, Alonso improves again on the medium tyres. Not enough to gain any positions, but he does improve. So the medium tyres obviously holding up a little bit better than the softs because, well, they're just more durable. And Max Verstappen now on a flying lap here. Looking great through the final sector. Across the line, 3rd place for him. Top 3 drivers, top 3 positions of 3 different teams, 3 different drivers, of course. And great competition. Hamilton goes second quickest in the first sector, and let's see what he can do. 1 minute, 40 seconds left on the clock. Currently, the drivers in the elimination zone are Kimi Antonelli, George Russell. They're not going anywhere. And then we've got Ocon, Hulkenberg, and Hadjar currently in the elimination zone. All right, Max got held behind Hulkenberg. Okay, I mean, yeah, there's always some issues with traffic. Even though we do have only 13 cars on the track, there's still traffic issues because it's just such a narrow circuit. Is the Surfshark starter pack good enough? Where can I find the instructions again? Well, I can just pop the instructions up on the screen. But yeah, the Surfshark starter pack should be good enough. Or just, if you click on the link, again, the one on the left, like the cheap one, the cheapest one, it will also be fine. But yeah. Those are the instructions. You can just get them back. Alonso comes across. Alonso said over the radio that he's going to box this lap and he can't improve anymore. That's basically what he said. There's 45 seconds left on the clock. He could have done one more lap, but I don't think they'll either have enough fuel for that. But Alonso thinks that's the best he can do in the Aston Martin. And, if Alonso's saying this is as quick as the car will go, I trust him. I believe him. Oh my God, Isaac Hadjar 3/10 up in the middle sector. Then it's just gone to Alex Albon. Incredible first sector, sorry. And really, really good from Alex Albon in the first sector. All right. Let's wait and see what he can do. It's getting really, really racy. Ocon improves up into 8th. Okay. 8th place for Esteban Ocon. Oh my God, we got 33,000 people tuning into QUALI. That is incredible. I think this is the record QUALI stream that we've had, actually. The most number of people tuning into a QUALI stream. It's only Q2. Hadjar across the line, 6th place for him. Here comes Alex Albon. Purple in the first sector. What can he do? 3rd place for Alex Albon. Incredible scenes. I said Williams wouldn't get a podium here because it's not a high-speed circuit. Alex Albon might be proving me wrong here. Great lap from him. He's on a fresh set of softs and 3rd position for the Thai driver. Fantastic. And currently in the elimination zone, ladies and gents, it is Yuki Tsunoda. He is gone. He's improved. He's tried to set a quick lap. Does not improve. Carlos Sainz, is he going to get eliminated as well? Yeah, I think that's his lap over. And that is it, ladies and gentlemen. That's the end of Q2. Carlos Sainz eliminated. Alex Albon in Q3. Yuki Tsunoda out. And Nico Hülkenberg out as well. Oh my God, what a surprise. I mean, my prediction turned out to be correct. I said Tsunoda would get eliminated, and he did. Piastri improves up into 4th place. Great job there from Piastri. He's on 10-lap-old soft tyres and still somehow improving his lap time. Wow. I mean, these soft tyres are pretty durable around Monaco because it is just such a short circuit. Great. And yeah, all right. Russell and Antonelli, of course, out after their issues. Hülkenberg out after the Sauber just not being quick enough and him not being able to pull out like an uber special lap. And Sainz in 11th position. And the thing is, Sainz's theoretical best lap time was a 1:11.288, which still wouldn't have been enough. He would have had to improve. Like, if you just hook up his previous best sectors, best sector 1, best sector 2, best sector 3, that still wouldn't have cut it. Sainz still would have improved even further if he wanted to make it through. So, the theoretical perfect lap from Sainz is 7/10 off his teammate, which is pretty huge. All right, ladies and gents, Q3 is starting in a matter of minutes now. There's been no red flag, nothing like that. Oscar Piastri, final driver to come into the pits. Q3 is getting started in literally 2 or 3 minutes. So, yes. And I will take you through an onboard lap of the circuit while we wait. And this is going to be great. All right, in fact, let me just put a timer up on the screen. I've got a message from race control on when the session is restarting. So let me just fix that. All right. Session is restarting in 5 minutes and 50 seconds. I don't know why they've taken such a big gap because they could have just started it straight away, but here we go. And yeah, so let me take you through an onboard lap of Monaco. Okie dokes. In fact, I could probably make this a bit bigger. I'll take it over here for now. So we have got, you come through the final corner, you want to head down the start-finish straight here. Just stick as close to the right side as possible to minimize the distance. Then brake in a straight line for Sandor. Avoid the bump there. You saw a little bump there. If you do lock up and you're still braking at that point, very easy to go straight into the barrier. Exactly what Oscar Piastri did yesterday. Now through Massenet you go. It's where Hamilton had his little incident because of losing the rear end. Now you go towards the casino section. Avoid the bump on the left-hand side. Downhill braking. There's an escape road there if you do lock up, but you don't want to be causing a red flag for everyone or yellow flag for everyone behind you. Then you go through the Lowe's hairpin, super slow speed corner. Charles Leclerc driving with one hand through that one. And then you've got Portier, and you just want to get a good exit out of this corner, really. You don't want to crash into your teammate like the Alpines did last year. And through the tunnel you go. This is where George Russell broke down, and the Marshals pushed him down towards the Nouvelle chicane, which is this corner. You don't want to clip the apex
clip the corner like Antonelli did. Now towards to back you go, brake, flick the car to the left, back onto the power immediately, flat through this chicane, and now onto the brakes you go, kissing the wall on the entry there, and now towards Raskas. This is the penultimate corner where you can gain a whole bunch of lap time if you can just hook it up absolutely perfectly, and then you've got the final corner left to go, ladies and gents, and that is a lap of the Monaco Grand Prix. All right, so there we go. That's a lap of the circuit, and yeah. All right, in fact, let me just zoom this down a little bit, just so if I ever use it again, it's actually fitting the screen. All right, there we go. Fantastic, fantastic. So, F1 Gamer, can you share your theoretical, the theoretical top 5 before Q3 starts? Okay, let's have a look. So, in theory, if everyone hooked up their perfect laps, then Lando Norris would be in first position, Oscar Piastri in second, Charles Leclerc in third, and Alex Albon in fourth, and then we'd have Hamilton in fifth, and Verstappen would be down in sixth position. So that is the theoretical best lap times that have come through, basically. Yeah. All right, very nice lap. Well, thank you for that. I mean, it took me a very long time to actually to do this around Monaco. My best time around Monaco, I don't actually remember the lap time itself, but I do know I'm within the top 5%. But that was back, when I was in my prime. I was back in my prime Formula One back in 2022. And since then, the amount of time I play the Formula One game has fallen off a cliff. So right now, I'm pretty terrible, and I'm nowhere near matching my best lap times. But back in my prime, I was a top 3% player on time trial. Every single time trial, I'd be within the top 3 or top 4, 5%. Yeah. All right. So we are 2 minutes and 30 seconds away from the end of from the start of Q3, sorry. We'll have 12 minutes of Q3 and a top 10 shootout. The drivers eliminated once again in Q2: Sainz, Tsunoda, Hülkenberg, Russell, and Antonelli. Damn, bring your prime lock in. Yeah, I mean, to record that lap around Monaco, it took me about 10 attempts to actually not just crash into the barrier or to put together a half decent lap, because I can't be talking about, oh, you've got to hit this apex and do this and do that if I'm missing the apex by about a quarter mile. So, yeah. It took me a while to record that Monaco lap, but all of the other circuits, it's pretty straightforward, to be fair. Yeah, you should have seen me in my prime, really. Monaco is hard on an Xbox controller. I mean, yeah, I do have a steering wheel that I used to play with, but it's not currently with me. Like, it's at home, and I'm currently at university. But on my Xbox controller, I'm pretty terrible. Oh, thank you for the donation. It's just it's just scrolled by so quick. I hope both Mercs make a comeback. Yeah, thanks for the donation, Fihan and yes, this is the thing. Okay, I have an idea, a potential idea. Mercedes should be listening to me, really, because I'm clearly a genius brain strategist. But if Russell and Antonelli, or either one of them, pit on lap number 1, then they're going to come out in a whole bunch of clean air, right? They've only got Bortoleto, Behrman, Gasly, Stroll, and Colapinto behind them, and they are going to have about 15 seconds worth of clean air ahead of them, which basically means that what they can do is drive for the first stint, which is probably going to be around 20 laps or so, in totally clean air. And Lando Norris, Piastri, and anyone at the top of the pack, they're all going to be in tyre conservation mode. They're all going to be driving slowly. And in the clean air, Russell and Antonelli will be able to gain huge amounts of lap time, undercut the entire grid, basically. And then they're going to go on to win the race. That's what I think is going to happen if they pull off that strategy. So, you heard it here first, folks. You heard it here first. But we are 9 seconds away from the start of QUALI, so let's wait and see. Also, thank you, Stephen, for joining the channel membership. It's very much appreciated. Here we go, then. F1 Gamer, have you ever tried Race Room? It's free to play. I did actually try it once, but I tried it on my old laptop, which wasn't particularly good, and it just kept lagging really. So maybe I'll try it again at some point. Yeah, but they'll be stuck behind Yuki, maybe. I mean, Yuki might try to do the same strategy as well, you know. That's the thing. If you try to do this strategy and try to get a bunch of clean air, it's very easy for one driver ahead of you. So let's say Russell comes into the pits on lap number 1. Then Tsunoda's going to be like, oh my God, I'm going to get undercut by George Russell if I don't come into the pits. So then Tsunoda also comes into the pits. That stops Russell from having clean air. And then Tsunoda will have clean air. And then Tsunoda's going to have clean air on, he's going to try and undercut Sainz, and then Sainz also comes into the pit. So it's a bit of a knock-on effect. Some teams will decide to bite and they'll come into the pits straight away, and some teams will stick it out and they'll be like, oh, there'll be a safety car, no need to worry about it. Race strategy 1 stop. No, it's a forced 2 stop, ladies and gents. We've got 30,000 people watching the stream. So the strategy for Monaco this year, the FIA have said you have to do 2 tyre changes. You can't just change your tyres once, you have to change your tyres twice, and that means 2 pit stops, and it means a lot more strategy action for us. Alright, so here we go then. These top kilometers are really close, and indeed they are. The slowest speed we can see is from Colapinto, 279 kilometers per hour. Alex Albon, 282. There's a 3 kilometer per hour difference. I mean, these cars have got thousands of different parts in all of them. They've got thousands of different components, and still the difference in top speed, 3 kilometers per hour. I mean, of course, the rules that they have to stick to are the same, so that probably explains why. But still incredible how close the lap times are, how close the top speeds are. Okie dokes now, ladies and gents. We are 2 minutes into Q3. We've got 10 minutes left, and now the drivers are actually starting their full qualifying laps. We've got medium tyres for Esteban Ocon, medium tyres for Alex Albon. Fernando Alonso is out on a used set of softs. So is Hadjar, so is Lawson, so is Verstappen, so is Hamilton as well. So these first runs aren't going to be the most representative things that you have seen in the world. However, the second runs, of course, they'll be right there. How long are the pit stops for the race? It'll be 24 seconds, if I remember correctly. Something between 22 and 24. I can't remember off the top of my head. Alright, so here we go then. Fresh tyres for Norris and Piastri in the first sector. They go 18.3 in the first sector. Piastri goes quickest out of anyone in the first sector all session long. Fastest out of everyone. Really, really good there from Piastri. And just look at this middle sector as well. He's just setting purple mini sectors left, right, and centre. Lando Norris is taking some of them away from him, but Piastri is on a roll. Purple through the middle sector again, and it's 33.6, which is a little bit further back, probably about 5th fastest in the middle sector out of everyone. And Norris goes slightly quicker. All right, our first time on the board, Esteban Ocon, a 1:19.7. That's a warm-up lap, of course. First real time on the board, Oscar Piastri, a 1:10.5. Last year's pole time, a 1:10.27 there from Charles Leclerc. So we're expecting the lap times to dip down even further, and they do. Lando Norris down to 10.4 from him, and he goes half a tenth up on his teammate. Hamilton across the line, a 1:10.9 from him. He's half a second back from Lando Norris. And we'll have the Charles Leclerc coming through as well on his first run in Q3. Across the line he goes, ahead of his teammate by 0.3 of a second, 2 tenths back from the McLaren drivers though. And now we've got Max Verstappen starting his flying lap. We've got Isaac Hadjar coming across our line. That is 5th place for him. But of course, you do have to take into account the gap between Leclerc and Hamilton. Hamilton was using used tyres, Leclerc was on fresh tyres, so there's a little bit of a difference there, and that should close up on the next run. All right, and we got Ocon across the line with an actual lap time rather than just a warm-up lap, and it's a 1:11.3 from him on those medium tyres. Okay. Oh, we got a lap time deleted for Isaac Hadjar. Isaac Hadjar, lap time deleted. And that drops him, no lap time for him because he exceeded track limits at turn number 10. Turn number 10 is the Nouvelle Chicane. Exceeded track limits there. Lap time deleted for Hadjar, unfortunately. And he's down back into 10th place. All right. So Norris and Piastri into the pits, Hamilton into the pits, everyone now. It's a pretty standard session. They're not going to do multiple laps, I think, in Q3. They're just going to do one and come back into the pits. Here comes Max Verstappen. He splits the Ferraris, but not close enough to the McLaren. Still 2 tenths back. There's still a 2 tenths gap here. Can he close it up? Will he be able to do it? Let's have a look. still, I'm having a look here at the theoretical best lap times. In theory, if Piastri hooks up all of his sectors, then he's going to be quicker than Norris. But on the previous lap, he just couldn't hook everything up together. And Verstappen's theoretical bests are all 2/10 off McLaren's and Ferrari's. So not ideal for Max, and maybe the pace is lacking for him, maybe the pace is lacking for the car, but there's some work to do for sure. All right, Fernando Alonso, he's done his run on those used softs. Now let's see what he can do. Can he hook up a perfect lap, a prime Fernando Alonso lap from 2006 to get him into the top 3 in Monaco? Let's wait and see. Oscar, the new tyres, hook everything up and destroy the entire field. Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Why are both Mercs out? Antonelli crashed the car in the Nouvelle Chicane. George Russell had an engine issue in Q2. That's why they're both out. And Alex Albon, the only driver currently out on track, he's out on a set of medium tyres, and there's 5 minutes 40 left on the clock. He's done his lap, and up into 6th he went, and now he's going to make his way back to the pits. Maybe he's going to do softs for his final one, maybe he's going to do mediums. We'll have to wait and see. Okay. Theoretical best. Okay, if everyone does their theoretical best lap time, Piastri first, Leclerc second, Norris third, Verstappen 4th, Hamilton 5th. Albon 5th and Hamilton 6th. Yeah. It's very, very close there. In fact, I think what I might do is instead of having the speed trap scrolling in in a loop, I might have the theoretical best lap time scrolling. I don't know how I would do that, but I'll have a look and I'll see if there's any chance to be able to do that. But that might be an interesting thing to do. A theoretical best lap time is basically you have a look at what the best first sector was for a driver, what their best second sector was on any lap. Like it can be any lap in the whole of the qualifying session. So let's say Norris had an amazing first sector in Q1, had a really good second sector in Q2, and then had a really good final sector in third Q. You connect all of those sectors up and you work out what that lap time would be, and that's a theoretical best lap time. So in theory, if everyone gets the perfect first one, sector 1, 2, and 3, then that's this lap time. Okay. F1 Gamer, check the sub count. Oh yeah, we hit 162k subs. That's fantastic. I didn't even notice, but thank you everyone for subscribing. Thank you everyone for hitting the like button. Very much is appreciated. Hope you guys are enjoying the coverage. And here we are then, ladies and gents. We are on the final 5 minutes of Q2 here in Monaco. Oscar Piastri is on a push lap, ladies and gentlemen. Purple in the first sector. He goes a 10th quicker than Leclerc in the first sector. And Lando Norris tops him by 7 milliseconds in the first sector. The McLarens are going at a rate of knots here. Incredible pace from the McLarens. And now let's see what Oscar Piastri can do. This is going to be his final lap. He's not going to have any more attempts at this quali run. He's come out early just in case there was a yellow flag or anything that's going to stop him from doing his lap. And let's see what he can do. He's now coming through to back and all the way to the limit, all the way to the wall for Oscar Piastri. A 33.3, another fastest middle sector for him. Let's see what Lando Norris can do this time. But Piastri now just approaching Raskas, and he's just got Ocon ahead of him. In fact, Ocon might help him out a little bit of a tow from Ocon. Here he comes across the start-finish line for Oscar Piastri. It is provisional pole by 0.3 of a second. Oh my goodness me. What can Lando Norris do about this? The McLaren drivers are going toe-to-toe. It's 15 milliseconds between the two drivers, and Lando Norris is on provisional pole position. What a lap by Lando, and Oscar Piastri pushed him all of the way. 15 milliseconds between these two drivers. Absolutely incredible. Wow. Okay, I mean, it's a McLaren 1-2. They've clearly got the pace, but it is so close here. I mean, it could not get any closer. Wow. 2 minutes and 12 seconds remain. Now we're going to get the quick laps from Verstappen, from Leclerc, from Hamilton. And let's see who comes out on top. Let's see. Here we go then. Here we go. We got Lawson on a flying lap and Hamilton starting his flying lap. Everyone's out on fresh set of tyres. Obviously, nobody's going to be using used tyres at the end of Q3. 1 minute and 44 seconds left on the clock now. And everyone, well, it's maximum attack. Here we go. Hamilton goes up the hill now towards Massenet, looking really good. Through the casino he goes. And can he actually get a purple first sector here? It's looking good for him. 18.36. He's fourth fastest in the first sector, a little bit back from his teammate. Let's see what Charles Leclerc can do. He's been looking fantastic all session long, all weekend long. It's been incredible from Charles Leclerc. It's 18.2 from him in the middle, in the first sector, ever so slightly back from the McLarens. Can Charles Leclerc get another pole position? Will it be back-to-back poles for him here in Monaco? Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, they're starting another flying lap. They had 2 laps worth of fuel in their car, and they still set these incredibly quick laps. Look at that gap, half a second between Leclerc and Norris had 2 laps worth of fuel in his car as well. That is incredible. And now they're going to be doing their second runs on lighter cars, but more tire wear. Leclerc purple in the middle sector now, 1/10 quicker than Piastri through the middle sector. Hamilton across the line. It's third place for him. He cannot get close enough. What can Charles Leclerc do? Will he be able to take down the McLaren dominance? He comes out of the final corner. He squeezes right up to the barrier. Across the line he comes. It's provisional pole for Charles Leclerc. What a lap! Half a tenth ahead of Lando Norris. Now it is up to Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. Can they stop him? Can Max Verstappen stop him? Across the line, Verstappen stays in 5th. Oh my goodness me. Verstappen, no special lap from him today. It's slower than his personal best. He stays in 5th position. Piastri can't improve. Lando Norris, he's on a used set of tyres. He may have less fuel in the car, but will it be enough to beat Charles Leclerc? Across the line he comes, and yes it is. He goes a 10th ahead. It's pole position for Lando Norris. What a lap from him, and Charles Leclerc got so close. Alonso across the line, 7th place for him. Alex Albon comes across the line, does not improve. I don't think he's going to improve. No, he doesn't. And it's 10th place for him. Oh my goodness me. It was so close for Charles Leclerc to get back-to-back poles, but Lando Norris improved by a full 10th of a second and got ahead of Charles Leclerc. Wow. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we got 36,000 people tuned into live stream. Folks, I hope to see you for the race tomorrow. There is going to be so much chaos with these 2 pit stop strategies. There's safety cars, red flags, so much action forecast for tomorrow. And I would love to see you tune in to the stream. So I hope to see you guys there. I'm going to end the stream now. I'll take you over to the race stream. If you could hit the like button, the reminder button on the chat on the race stream, that'd be incredible. If you guys are interested in getting Surfshark VPN, watching Formula 1 for only $2 a month, there's a link in the description. You just got to get Surfshark VPN and join an Austrian VPN server, Google Service TV, and then you can watch Formula 1. We've got 250 people watching it on the channel right now. So, yeah, it definitely does work. If you guys are interested, check that out. Link is in the description. But what a quali stream. What a race this is. What a race. We haven't even had the race. What a quali it has been. And it was so close. Leclerc loses pole position to Lando Norris by 1/10 of a second. And it's a new track record for Lando. Incredible scenes. Absolutely incredible. And we're going to have a very exciting race tomorrow. Max Verstappen starting in 5th place as well. I would have expected something special from him, but he didn't even improve on his second lap. Alonso up into 7th place as well on his on his soft tyre run. Yeah. All right, ladies and gents. So that has been it from me. I called it a 109. Well, Kies, well, you got it right then. Fantastic. Okay, but that's it from me, folks. I will see you in, I think, 22 hours time or something for the race. It's gonna be a great one. I think it's gonna be one of the special Monaco Grand Prix that we've had in quite a while, and it's gonna go down right to the wire. So I will see you in. See you in 2 hours and not 2 hours, 22 hours. And if you could hit the like button and the reminder button on the quali stream, on the race stream, that would be incredible. And I hope to see you all there. And that's about it, really. Bye bye.